Hello, it's Charles Fockaert, September 17th, 2018. I welcome all of you and thank you for supporting this channel. There's some people making pretty good money on YouTube. They got several thousand views, and I know that I could do that probably, and if I would just stay away from some serious topics. Nobody wants to hear about some of this stuff I'm talking about. I offend everybody that's not white. Pastors, Judeo-Christians, globalists, you name it, all those in the military that think they're defending our country. You're not. See? A lot of people take offense with what I have to say, and you should read some of the comments that I don't approve because they're just full of hatred, and they call me a hater, and yet they're spilling their vile all out there. But hey, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it was the right thing. You tell the truth and the whole truth, the truth that people don't want to hear, because for the most part people don't want to hear all the truth. They'll go so far with the truth, and they think they're telling the truth and they're truth tellers, but go all the way with the truth, all the way to the hill, if you know what I'm talking about. That's when everybody leaves and departs. So I thank those of you who are faithful supporting this channel. I want to upload this video because I'll be leaving Montana and I won't have access to the internet to be able to upload, and I wanted to get these up there before I left. So there's three things I want to bring up, and they all have to do with the level playing earth, but it's a different aspect of the flat earth this time. It's the way people think. See, this is going to separate, this flat earth is going to separate the men from the boys here. No offense to you ladies, but there must be divisions among you so that those which are approved may be made manifest. You can see how people operate and how they think, and by using this topic. So let's go have a look at the first one, and this is Elon Musk, who I think is a big fraud. He's a big fraud, but let's go have a look at his SpaceX program, shall we? Here we are, live science. Elon Musk is blasting someone to the moon, and we have questions. So let's just see what this guy. There's a fake picture there, CGI. A mystery passenger will soon get a chance to fly around the moon, courtesy of SpaceX Big Falcon rocket. Yeah, right. According to an announcement on Twitter, SpaceX, the independent space exploration company founded by billionaire Elon Musk, I think he's been supported, he's been financed by the government as a propagandist, but hey, I might be wrong, has booked a private passenger on a round-trip journey around the moon. See, this is all just propaganda. The mission here says is an important step toward enabling access for everyday people who dream of traveling in space. SpaceX representatives tweeted last night, September 13th, quote, only 24 humans have been to the moon in history. Well, that's an allegedly. No one has visited since the last Apollo mission in 1972. Now think about that. My RV is 77. This is 72. My RV is 41 years old. So this is 46 years ago, is it? And they haven't been back to the moon yet. SpaceX has yet to release any information on how much a trip to the moon would cost, but whether a majority of, quote, everyday people can afford the fare seems dubious. For comparison, Virgin Galactic, which takes passengers on a 90-minute flight that includes several minutes in zero gravity, costs about $250,000 a ticket. So they continue here. See, folks, this is all, in my opinion, this is all just hype. This is all just hype. That's all it is. It's just propaganda to keep people thinking that there are actually going to be people going to the moon. Everyday people. The mysterious lunar passenger whose identity will be revealed along with other key details Monday night, September 17th, that's tonight, via live webcast, will reportedly blast into space on SpaceX's newly redesigned Big Falcon rocket. Isn't that the one? You know what? Big BFR. Doesn't the other one crash or something? I don't keep track of all this. I don't have TV and I don't keep track of all this. But anyway, so it's been completely redesigned, which was designed to carry a crew capsule holding up to 100 passengers on a trip to and from Mars. Now, this is all scientific cow dung. There ain't nobody going to Mars, folks. The massive spacecraft, which is still being developed, come on, move, okay, will have 31 engines on the booster vehicle alone and will be the most powerful rocket ever made, Space.com previously reported. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. They can say anything they want, and the proof is in the pudding. Let me pause this and read a little bit more here and see if I can save us both some time. Oh, yeah, here we go. In 2017, SpaceX announced plans to send 2 tourists on a trip around the moon aboard the company's Crew Dragon capsule as early as late 2018. That's coming up pretty soon. Oops. However, earlier this year, the Wall Street Journal reported that the flight would not embark until 2019 at the earliest. See? They keep putting it off. No further details have been released about the date, duration, or cost of Musk's moonshot vacation. At this point, it's also anyone's guess as to who the mysterious moon tourist will be, and blah, blah, blah. I'll put the rest of this on here in case you want to watch it. And it's all just hype, folks. It's going to be a movie, if anything. And there it is. And I got another one here I want to show you. This is called Scientists Find the Driver of False Beliefs. You know, remember the scientist, the new high priest of the new religion, Scientism as opposed to creationism. They're never wrong, but let's go have a look at what they have to say about what's driving us flat earthers, okay? That we can't accept, or we accept the flat earth and we reject scientists, what they say. Let's go have a look at that, shall we? Okay, here we are. The first thing you notice is this flat earth model, this image that nobody in the flat earth uses. Nobody that I know of, no video I've ever watched uses it. But this is how they get you going. Scientists say they found the driver of false beliefs, and it's not a lack of intelligence. Well, thank you very much. At least you don't think I'm stupid, right? But I'm going to pause it here. Why is it sometimes so hard to convince someone that the world is indeed a globe, or that climate change is actually caused by human activity, despite the overwhelming evidence? Well, first of all, maybe some of us don't think that the evidence is overwhelming, number one. Number two, because we actually looked into the level playing Earth, and we've come to the conclusion that the overwhelming evidence supports a level playing Earth. And some of us are old enough to remember when the scientists were talking about the coming ice age. Go back, do a search on DuckDuckGo, and you'll find the coming ice age on Time magazine back in 1969, 1970s, early 70s. That didn't fly. The ice age never showed up, so now they changed it to global warming. That didn't catch. That didn't fly, so then they changed it to climate change. So it can go either way now. See, it can be too warm, too hot, too cold. Doesn't matter because it's climate change. You got it. I think you understand. Scientists think they might have the answer. Of course, The scientists are never wrong. So it has a less to do with a lack of understanding and more to do with the feedback they're getting. And I want to go down here to this experiment they did, and it reinforces what I've been saying. For the research, you can read what's up there. I don't want to take the time. For the research, more than 50 participants were recruited and shown a series of colored shapes. As each shape appeared, the participants got asked if it was a taxi, a word made up for these experiments. The test takers had no clues as to what a taxi was or wasn't, but they did get feedback after guessing one way or the other. The system would tell them if the shape they were looking at qualified as a taxi or not. At the same time, they were asked how sure they were about what a taxi actually was. In this way, the researchers were able to measure certainty in relation to the feedback. Results showed the confidence of the participants was largely based on the results of their last 4 or 5 guesses, not their performance overall. And then you can watch this video below to explain the experiment. I'm not going to do that, but let's read here. What we found interesting is that they could get the first 19 guesses in a row wrong, but if they got the last 5 right, they felt very confident. It's not that they weren't paying attention. They were learning what a taxi was, but they weren't using most of what they learned to inform their certainty. This recent feedback is having more of an effect than hard evidence, the experiment showed, and that might apply in a broader sense too. It could apply to learning something new or trying to differentiate between right and wrong. I'm not going to read the rest of this. I'll put it on here for you, and you can read it for yourself. And what I want to do is I want to go to an example of this reinforcement that they're talking about, and you'll see this everywhere when in the comment sections of anything that's related to the flat earth. And let's go have a look at that, shall we? It has to do with amateur radio operation. Okay, here we are at that article. Can ham radios disprove the flat earth theory? This is an unconventional question, I realize, but please bear with me. I have a number of acquaintances who genuinely believe that the earth is flat. I realize that I should probably ignore them, but I like the intellectual debate. They actually quite well sourced, considering they're totally wrong. Of course they're totally wrong. One point I've made is that a person can use radios to prove that the earth must be spherical and not flat. I've also pointed out that a person can measure the distance from the earth to the moon. They argue that the moon is very close to the earth by blasting a radio signal at the moon and measuring the time it takes to receive the bounce back signal. What I lack is hands-on experience to tell them that I have done these experiments firsthand. So I'm wondering, has anyone done the moon distance experiment themselves and done the math to measure the approximate distance to the moon? Is such a thing possible with an amateur radio? Number 2, am I correct in my assumption that the geometry used to communicate with the other side of the world works precisely because we're on a sphere and wouldn't work on a flat earth? Here's what my friend envisions when he imagines the earth for clarity. So let's go have a look at it. It's just the flat earth map. Same map they use as the logo for the United Nations and other government agencies, but hey, let's not get bothered by detail, shall we? Now, as a little background, I am a licensed ham radio operator. My call sign, for those of you who like to call me a liar, is Kilo Indian 7 Indian Juliet Sierra. I've had a license now for about 2 years, and that's why I like to get into ham radio. When I was taking the test, they told us that you can bounce a ham radio signal off of the moon and get the signal back. And I asked the fellow there that was in the class, pretty knowledgeable guy, been a ham radio operator quite a while. I said, well, wait a minute. using a 1500 watt, which is the largest power source that most ham radio operators can use legally. How does the signal go 250,000 miles? I said, if you're having trouble going 3,000 miles from like Southern California to Indonesia, you can only do that at night and on a relatively clear, perfect condition day or nighttime, not during the day. How do you go 250,000 miles? He goes, well, I go by the facts. And I said, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with anybody over this. Nobody. I don't care what you think. But I don't want to go into too much detail, but there's no way that these ham radios are going 250,000 miles away and back. One of the reasons you know that is they say we use the ionosphere to bounce the signal. You press the little button here and you send out your signal, you transmit, it hits the ionosphere and it'll bounce, and that's why we can go such a long distance. And the guy gave me the example, Southern California to Indonesia and Japan, etc. I go, well, wait a minute. Then how, when you send the signal up to the moon, how does it go right through the ionosphere? And if it's coming back, why doesn't it bounce off of the ionosphere when it's coming back? And why is all these signals we're supposedly getting from out there in space, all the way in Mars and beyond, the Explorer and the ISS 250 miles away, and how come it doesn't, if it bounces off the ionosphere going up, why doesn't it bounce off the ionosphere when it's trying to get back to the Earth? Doesn't make sense to me, but hey, overwhelming evidence is in support of a spinning sphere global Earth, right? But see, that's the problem, and that's what some of these people, his friends, his acquaintances that are trying to tell him that the moon is very close. And I believe the moon is less than 3,000 miles away, and actually much closer than that, but that's a topic for another video. So let's go have a look at the responses he get. This is like Job and his friends, huh? Let's go have a look at the responses he gets. And it has to do with that video I just showed you about the driver of false beliefs. When they get reinforced, even though they don't know anything about the topic, when they get reinforced, they tend to believe something even though they don't know what the... Can I be frank? They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So let's go have a look at his Job's friends here, shall we? So here we are, and this, I want to remind you or show you, point out that a lot of these responses are from anonymous users. See, and I use my real name. This is me. You know who I am. You know what I think. I'm not ashamed of what I think, but a lot of these are fake names. But anyway, so you need new friends. He got 36 points for this one. This is the top one. And then... see, he's getting reinforced. You need new friends. Nothing you can say will change the mind of someone who's already dismissed the clear evidence they are wrong. That's what the globalists do. They dismiss the clear evidence that they're wrong, but hey, honestly, life is too short to argue with ignorance at that level. All available science disproves the flat earth theory, so sure, why not add radio to the long list? Why bother even wasting your time with these people? You could always use line-of-sight communication, especially microwaves, to prove your example. If the Earth was flat, then links on 50-foot towers would be simply based off of free space path loss and therefore not suffer any significant or any signal attenuation due to the ground curvature of the Earth, blah, 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 blah. And the link should have reliable line of sight at sea level significantly further than 20 miles. Anything you say, they're going to come up with an answer. Well, that's what the globalists do. That happens when you you know the answer. See, and that's what the other article I brought up. They already know the answer before you go looking for the evidence, and that's what the spinning spirits do. It happens in politics and I don't know what this baddie economics all the time. Why try to teach a pig to sing? Not only is it an absolute waste of time, but it annoys the pigs. Send a balloon up with a camera and see the curvature. No. The balloon going up doesn't show the curvature of the Earth. But hey, you know what? So you can, I'll put these all on here. You know, how the F do these people still exist in 2017 and begging the question they aren't trolling you? Why are you wasting your time? See, he's getting all this reinforcement now, all by these anonymous users, and they just put a repeater on the moon. Oh, that to trick you into believing the Earth is flat. See, it's just a joke. And I'm going to scroll down here so it'll all be on here. You can pause the video if you want to watch all the rest of this. And here's one I thought. Don't forget Alice Cramden. Didn't Alice go to the moon? They're friggin' idiots. Don't waste your time on them. Okay. So, you can't fix stupid. There it all is. Okay. So did you notice that almost every one of those answers was a logical fallacy, ridicule, etc., appeal to authority? Nobody said, hey, you can prove it. Very few said, hey, that actually know what they're talking about. Said, hey, we know the Earth is, the moon is 250,000 miles away because of this reason, blah, blah, blah. Well, they can't do that because the moon's not 250,000 miles away, folks. And I hope to get into this more while I'm down south. Like I said on the other video, I'm hoping to... on my On the Road with Charles Fockaert video, I'm hoping to run into an Elmer. It's not Elmo. I said Elmo. It's an Elmer. That's what they call a mentor, so that I can understand more about ham radio, maybe even get a used, high-powered mobile ham radio to put here in the mobile cabin. Excuse me. That coffee. So anyway, I wanted to get these up. I'm going to upload this right now while I'm near a public internet. I'm heading out as soon as I get done with this, and I don't know when I'll see you again, but you have a great day. May the grace of God, our Father Yahweh, the creator of the level playing earth, may his grace be upon us all, the Caucasian race, for we most certainly need it. See ya.